Well, by 2009, you catch another case.
True.
For home invasion and murder for hire.
Yep.
So what was that about?
That was just another, that was a bullshit thing. In my lifestyle, I used to talk to everybody. I was allowed to talk about any crime I wanted to. Anything. It was all documented. Matter of fact, I understand my handler, Vinny Pizzuti, said, I would have wrote, he could have talked about this, he could have said this, he could did anything, could have talked about drugs, murder, this, anything. He says, I would have wrote more if I had room on the paper. Okay, it's in the transcripts. But the whole thing is I was just talking to this guy, a friend of mine came, he was just posturing for me. He knew it was, knew it was a gangster or whatever, he thought it was or whatever. And he wanted one guy to get killed. It was a $1 million life insurance policy. I said, I'll take a look at it. Give me the address. And I did, of course. I sent Mike up there, gave him $1,000. I figured this guy, Mike, earns a payday, makes me look like I'm still a gangster. He tells all his friends, you know what I mean? It makes it look good. I got some street cred still. Everything's going well. Comes with me with a video. Shows me the video. We can't do it, Joe. It's just too tough. I said, okay, no problem. And it's dead. Well, he gets a pinch. Now he gives me up. Says, I know a guy wants to go, I'll go. And he wore a wire. And I pretended like it was still going to go. I knew he wasn't going to do nothing, and I wasn't going to have nobody killed. That's not who I am. Well, now all of a sudden the FBI come and get me. And what they did was they kept all this pressure on me because they wanted me to work with them. They were what they call a C5 squad, which was against the Genovese family. And they wanted me to infiltrate that family now. But they did it where they have pressure on me. You got to do this because otherwise, you're going to go to jail for X amount of years and this and this and that. But they were the worst people to ever work with. My friend that I called from prison knew the phone was being taped. They let me out for 2 weeks with a piece of paper saying I was just arrested as an investigation. They did everything like you would, like amateurs. So I said, I don't talk to nobody on the phone. I'm going to call this guy up from prison here. Come on, what's wrong with you? Well, you got to prove yourself. I said, I saved the life of the federal judge and Greg Andreas. That's not good enough. And you know what this guy, Mike Gator, never forget him, just went like this to me. He didn't care, okay? He didn't even care about saving his own. This is how dirty the FBI are. Their whole slogan is, we don't care what goes down as long as the end justifies the means. They're actually, in my opinion, worse than the gangsters. Because the gangsters, you know what you got to do and what not to do and everything like that. These guys here, they make it up as they go along.
Well, you ended up getting 19 months.
I did 19 months because I fought the case. I did 15 months in the box where I wound up getting PTSD. Okay, and I still get nightmares when I hear keys and boxes and all of this kind of stuff like that. And the other months I did in public where I actually had Joe Waverly, another wise guy with two guys over there, goes, "That the kid?" Because they had my face in the newspaper, and of course you get the paper in the prison. And I was on the phone. I said, "Hey, Joe, how are you?" I mean, what was I supposed to do? You know?
Well, up to this point, you never wore a wire.
No.
But during your second bid, you actually did wear a wire.
I wore a wire once on my co-defendant because when I decided, I did that purposely because I knew that once I talked to him on the wire, which is the guy who his attorney was that guy that played in the Goodfellas. He was the prosecutor against Henry Hill. He was actually my friend's attorney.
Okay.
Ed McDonald was his name.
Okay.
Well, I did wear a wire, and the wire proved all along what I was saying at trial. And that's why I like jury trials, because if you talk to the jury and you tell the truth, they will see it.
Well, right. The trial ended in a hung jury.
The only reason why it wound up in a hung jury is because of the conspiracy law. And I don't know how much you know about law, Vlad, but the conspiracy law is really actually illegal. I can't know what you're thinking right now. Do you know what I'm thinking right now?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's exactly what it is. But I actually faced the jury. Like I'm facing you now. I turned my chair from facing the people in the, out there and looking at the thing. I faced the jury because I want them to look in my eyes because I just told the truth. And my attorney said the same thing. He says, he didn't prep me. He didn't say, "Joe, what are you going to do if they say this?" He said, "Joe, go up there and talk to them like you're talking to somebody in your living room." And I did. And I was open, told them what I had to tell them, and I knew that they weren't going to find me guilty.
Right, because they tried to do the trial again, but then it got tossed out.
Yeah, because the Judge Buchwald said you couldn't find them guilty on the murder trials. Now all of a sudden you're going to try to find them guilty on conspiracy? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a joke.